What do you do when heaven seems silent? When you cry out to God again and again, and all you get is nothing or worse? When the answer is no, does it mean he's angry? That he's done with you? That you're too far gone? Or could it be something deeper? In the Gospel of Matthew, there's a woman who got the cold shoulder from Jesus. She was ignored, rejected, even called a dog. But she didn't give up. And in the end, Jesus said something to her he didn't say to anyone else in the Gospels. Woman, you have great faith. This is the story of the Canaanite woman. And how God's no wasn't rejection. It was refinement. Matthew 15:21-28 paints the scene. Jesus is in Gentile territory far from the religious crowds. And suddenly, a woman starts shouting, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly." She's not Jewish. She's a Canaanite, a descendant of a people Israel had long been taught to avoid, culturally, spiritually, and socially. She's an outsider, but she comes boldly. She doesn't tiptoe. She doesn't care what others think. Her daughter is in pain, and Jesus is her only hope. And then, Jesus did not answer a word, not a look, not a nod, not a single syllable, silence, and that hurts more than rejection. Because silence feels like being forgotten, but she keeps crying out. So much so that the disciples say, "Send her away, she keeps shouting at us." Even Jesus' followers want her gone. She's too loud, too messy, too desperate, but Jesus finally speaks. "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel," another closed door. A second no, but she still won't leave. She kneels. She pleads. She worships. "Lord, help me." Then comes the line that stings. Jesus says, "It's not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." Wait, did Jesus just call her a dog? At first glance, it sounds harsh, cruel, even offensive, but dig deeper. Then comes the line that stings. Jesus says, "It's not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." Wait, did Jesus just call her a dog? At first glance, it sounds harsh, cruel, even offensive, but dig deeper. She just says, "Even crumbs from you are enough." And in that moment, the heavens open. Jesus looks at her and declares, "Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted," and her daughter is healed instantly. This woman teaches us to pray louder, not quieter, to kneel lower, to worship harder, to say like Job, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Job 13:15, faith isn't proven in answered prayers. It's revealed in the waiting, in the silence, in the wrestling, in the refusal to walk away, because when your faith says, "Even crumbs from you are enough," that's when heaven moves. God's silence wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a miracle. Jesus wasn't being cruel. He was drawing her closer, calling out her perseverance, shaping a faith that could withstand anything. Sometimes God delays the answer to reveal the depth of your desire. He says, "Not yet." To see if you really trust him, he hides his face. So your heart will seek him harder, and what looks like rejection is actually an invitation to wrestle. Jesus only said, "Great is your faith," to two people, a Roman centurion and this Canaanite woman. Both were outsiders. Both were persistent. Both believed when no one else did, and both saw miracles. Your background doesn't disqualify you. Your pain doesn't cancel your purpose. And your delay is not your denial. God may say no, but it's not because he's rejected you. It's because He's inviting you into a deeper kind of faith. This woman teaches us you don't have to be perfect to come to Jesus. You don't need status or background or credentials. You just need desperation and faith. She didn't let offense win. She didn't let people silence her. She didn't let Jesus' delay define His character. She held on even when it hurt. That's what great faith looks like. Maybe you've been praying for something, and God hasn't answered, or the door keeps closing, or you feel forgotten, ignored, even rejected. Maybe you've heard your own version of silence, a diagnosis that didn't change, a marriage that didn't heal, a job that didn't come through, a child who still won't return home. You're tempted to believe, maybe God doesn't care. Maybe I'm not chosen. Maybe I'm a mistake. But friend, don't confuse silence with absence. And don't confuse no with never. Sometimes God delays to draw out a deeper cry. So don't give up. Don't walk away. Don't silence your cry, even if heaven seems quiet. Even if the door hasn't opened, keep knocking, because Jesus is still listening. He still sees you, and He still responds to the faith that won't let go. God's no is not rejection. It might just be the setup for your miracle. If you're waiting on God today, comment below. I believe His no is not the end. Subscribe for more faith-filled stories from the Bible. Share this with someone who feels ignored by God. Coming next in the series, When Heaven is Silent, the Cry of Job.